Hey, what's good, everybody? It's me, your hero, Benjamin Banks, and you are listening to and watching a brand new episode of Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. And joining me, as always, are my co-hosts, Rebellious D and Trav. How you fellas doing today?
Hey, bro.
Ready to rock.
Look, bro, D rolled up in here. Nobody said nothing to him. I feel bad.
Hey, that's why I was saying something to him. Hey,
no news is good news, brother.
You know how hype D is when we do the intro, because he's either going to shoot the arrow, he's going to have the minigun, or he just did the.
Ain't nothing mini about that gun, bro. Better watch out.
That's right.
Let him know, D.
I always wonder why it was called a minigun for a gun that's so big. You know what I'm saying? Like I never knew. But
it's not about the size. It's not the size of the gun that is mini.
It's the power that matters. Right?
No, sure. What's wrong with that?
Well, I mean, I don't know where were you going with this, Trav?
I'm talking about why they call it. Yeah, it's the size of the bullets, dude. It's not the size of the gun that they gets the name mini from.
Oh, well, I never knew. I mean, well, Trav, you are a weapon.
I over here talking about it's not the size of the gun, it's the power.
I was a sword collector.
This thing tried to hit me with a Captain Planet quote.
I was actually thinking of Lemillion from My Hero Academia when he said power. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I'm sure.
Hey, he be letting that sound, man.
Hey, he let that thing go, baby.
And joining us today on this interview is professional voice actor Alex Mai. How are you doing today, Alex?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me, man.
Oh yeah.
Right there.
Thank you for joining us, man. It's always a pleasure when we have guests come up here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks, and we always look forward to hearing their stories and letting their fans get to know who the person is behind the voice. So thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I have to just say, you guys have some cool stuff in your background, some cool memorabilia.
Thank you.
What's some of your favorite stuff you've seen?
Okay, well, first of all, like my eyes just keep going to it, is the pictures of Huey, Riley, and Grandpa. Yeah, I'm pretty excited for the new season of Boondocks, but like kind of curious how they're gonna do it without John Witherspoon.
Right.
So
rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace, man.
Yeah,
also,
man.
Sorry. Man, I'm just jealous. I have like no memorabilia, so I
see a bunch of stuff back there.
Yeah, man.
This is
my
booth.
Hey, Alex, let me ask you real quick. Have you seen Invincible?
I have.
Okay, you saw the season finale, right?
Yes.
See, all you need to just say is lights on, and then we'll see everything.
That's right.
That's right.
Something in the water,
been
man.
drinking that tap water.
That's why we can't see nothing. So before we get into today's interview, make sure that you like this video, you subscribe to our channel, and you hit that bell button so that way you're always notified when we have new content here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. And with that being said, let's go ahead and roll into it. So Alex, every time we have a guest up here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks, we always want to know, what is your origin story? Let all of the listeners know who you are.
All right. So my origin story is I was born in Florida, like the dangly part of America. And so basically I grew up there. I was born and raised there. And growing up, my parents were like, you're going to be a doctor, or you're going to be a lawyer or a psychologist.
Yep.
And I was like, hell yeah. I ended up going to the University of Florida, and I took 3 years of psychology classes. And I took a class that was called psychology, counseling for psychology.
Okay.
And that was a lie. It was actually they called it that, but it was psychology of suicide.
Right.
That was way heavier than I was expecting, way heavier than I was really into. And I was like, hey, I'm realizing now that like psychology is not for me. I love learning about it, but that's not really my career path.
Right.
And so I basically spent the last year and a half of college basically doing as much theater as I could, filling it up, trying to get a minor, and basically just like diving into performance, because I had always really liked like stand up. I'd always really liked just kind of performing. And so basically graduated from the University of Florida, and I was like, Florida sucks. I don't know where I want to go. And so I was either going to go to like California, New York, or and maybe even Texas. And so I got grandparents who actually live a little bit north of Dallas. So my parents were like, it made my parents feel a lot easier if I moved to Dallas. So I ended up moving in 2014. From here, I moved and I basically just, started taking more classes, try to get, my foot in the door, and like, oh man, like I'm not like of a lot of my peers, like of the younger people, like my timeline is way longer than theirs, man.
Yeah.
I moved here in 2014. I got my first session at Funny in 2015. I got my second session in 2016. I got my third session in 2017. Like it was a slow process.
A slow burn. Yeah.
Very slow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, and it's funny because some people like I know who are like, God, I've been here since 2019 and I only get called in once a month, and I'm like, dude, that's yo, that's good. You're doing thankful. Great. Yeah, you're doing great. It's so basically just been slowly building up stuff, getting submitting here and there, trying to get my credits up, try to keep on working more. So
yeah, awesome. Man, hey, everybody's journey's different.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah.
You just have to be grateful, man. I mean, back when I was wrestling, that was one of the things where it's just like some guys, they always thought that once they got their foot in the door that they would be getting booked consistently, but it's not like that. It's just like, sometimes you do have to play the waiting game. Sometimes it is word of mouth. Sometimes it is who you know. For some people, it is really who you know. But
absolutely,
always,
even if you aren't getting booked consistently, you stick with it. And like how you did, Alex, it's just like, you went in there the first time, then you had to wait another year, then you had to wait another year. And now it's starting to get better. It's starting to get more consistent. And like now you're doing big roles and stuff like that, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I wanted to, jump on because we're huge My Hero Academia fans. I mean, you see, I got All Might right here. I got all the pops and everything like that.
Where?
But yeah, so
All Might?
It's I'm sorry, Trav. You made me forget what I was.
Nah, hey, don't blame me. Get back on that train, right, D? That train you be talking about. Get back on the train.
Hey, I'm at the head of the train right now, man. It's just like you had me stumbling on what I was.
It's not me. It's the Rengoku.
But anyway, what I was trying to get at is that you voice manga on Fukudashi, I believe that's his name, on My Hero Academia. Season 5, and like I said, we're huge fans. Like, were you a fan of the series before you got the role on My Hero Academia?
Yeah. So I, this is like maybe takes away some of my my dubbing cred, but like I don't watch as much anime as I read manga. I am a huge manga fan in general.
Okay.
Like I would, man, through high school I would just like lose sleep. I would just be like, I'm not sleeping tonight because I'm just gonna read manga. And like I just so when My Hero came out, I was following it weekly.
Yeah. And
I don't know, something, I think like just a life event happened and I stopped reading it pretty early on, but I was like, this is a good like series. I need to keep up with it. And I just kind of like dropped it. But
it happens.
It's always good. It's on my list. It's on my list of like series to keep reading, series to start watching, So, but yeah, nice. I've liked it. I remember reading it, and this is about around the time I think when like maybe I'm getting my time mixed up, but when like Naruto was ending, Bleach was kind of getting canceled, and I was like, this is gonna be the next big three, man. Like this is good.
Yeah, I mean,
No, you got your time.
I want to say that was right? 2015, 2016. When I think Naruto ended in 2016, right? Trav?
Yeah, Naruto ended in 2016.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay, and then Bleach ended 2014, 2015?
Yeah, I think they before
canceled it. Yeah,
they canceled it. Yeah, it didn't even end. They just canceled it. Yeah.
The fact that Kubo had an axe. Oh, sorry. The fact that Kubo axed it. Oh, that's
Well,
that's rough.
No, hey, well, look, I mean, it's coming back now. The anime's coming back, and
not really though, because again, they're skipping. They're just doing this. They're not picking up where they left off.
What are they doing? Just a wrap up?
No, they're picking up with
It's like the final arc,
the 10,000 war arc.
Oh, okay,
yeah, and they're just doing that. So you got that gap.
Stuff?
Yeah, so you got that gap in between.
Got it.
Hopefully they release a movie or something so that way it catches.
I mean, do you really need it?
Yeah, I mean
that's me.
Well, I mean, because it's the same thing like with Promise Neverland, where it's like season 2 came out and then it's like they just skipped a bunch of stuff, and that really pissed off a lot of fans because it's just like I've been reading the manga since it came out, and I've been patiently waiting to watch the anime, and you're telling me that everything that I was waiting to finally see animated doesn't get animated at all. Y'all just skip over the entire thing. So, I mean, maybe they might do that for Bleach. I mean, you got to remember Bleach, it was popular at one point, and hopefully this does, revive the franchise, and maybe we get something new out of it.
Get that new live action going.
Oh, hey, chill with the live action, Trav. Chill with the live action.
We're good on that, Trav.
Yeah, we're good on that.
We're good
but,
on that.
Alex, so you're voicing manga on My Hero Academia. This is the second round of Class 1A versus Class 1B. Going into it, like your group, the character you voiced, they won. Now, before this, did you think that your group was going to win?
So from like a narrative standpoint, I was like, well, if Class 1A won the first battle, then like Class 1B, like narratively should probably win the second one. But also it's like looking at the teams, it was like Yayorozu's team, and it was like, yeah, this is a pretty strong set of people. So yeah, I was pretty excited to watch, like, oh hey, 1B's kind of hitting back, kind of clapping back a little bit.
Yeah, I thought for sure they were gonna win, only because there was just no way they were gonna let Class 1A completely sweep
Again.
1B.
Yeah, like
every single match, and honestly, I don't see Deku's team losing. So I was like, hey, if anybody's gonna win, it's got to be that squad right there, and they took care of business.
And it was a clean sweep too.
Yeah.
Clean sweep.
They took everybody out.
Took out my girl.
Yeah, they took everybody out, man. It's cool that that you got the opportunity to voice that character, and not only that, but you voiced somebody who won. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to go back to a previous character, 2 previous characters that you had voiced, and that was on Dragon Ball Super, where you were in the Tournament of Power, and both of your characters, they got eliminated like that in the snap of a finger. So you were able to redeem yourself. I don't know.
You gotta rub it in.
I don't know
if
over
here rubbing it in.
I don't know if you connect like characters that win or lose. It's like, yeah, I lost this time, but hey, I won here. But like, how was that being in Dragon Ball Super? I mean, Dragon Ball, it was one of the biggest anime, still one of the biggest animes of all time, and you got to voice characters on the Revive series. How was that?
It was wild, man. Like, so part of like is, I should have mentioned it in my background, but I grew up in a very, very strict household. Like no TV, no video games on weekdays. On weekends, you can watch 2 hours, but only after you study for 2 hours first.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like real strict stuff. That really didn't start kicking in until about middle school. So like in elementary school, I was able to watch Dragon Ball, like just on Toonami.
Yeah.
And that was my jam. So like getting to kind of go in and record for it, that was really cool. That was, I try my best to like not fanboy in sessions and try to keep it to myself and be like, oh yes, yeah, I'm professional, but like that was hard.
Yeah. Oh, for sure, man.
Yeah.
We had Brian O'Vera up here, and he was telling us when they got to choose the characters in the Tournament of Power, like there was like this chart, and you just chose what characters were available. Now, were these the 2 characters that you saw, and you was just like, they look awesome, I want to voice these characters?
So, what's actually really funny is that Brian was in the session directly after me. So as I was leaving, he was going in. So that's really funny. It's a small world. But actually, the director Raleigh that chart does exist. It was a huge chart with a ton of names and a ton of faces on it.
Right.
Yeah.
But he was basically just like, hey, I'm going to give you these guys. And I was like, hell yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, of course.
Yeah. So I didn't really choose, but like, I'm glad to get the guys I got.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, like, you're a part of history. I mean, like, that's two
Part of history.
big
That's
series that you've been in now. My Hero Academia and Dragon Ball Super. I want to kind of rewind back to when you first got your, first acting gig at Funimation. Like, what was the first role that you had did?
So
and how was it going into that?
It was the first thing I ever did at Funimation was Bits and Walla. I'm sure you guys know, but just for anyone who's listening and doesn't know, Bits and Walla are like, Walla is like background anytime you have a crowd or an outside scene and they're just people playing in a playground that they're not seeing and you don't really hear what they're saying, but you know they're saying stuff. That's Walla. Bits are any characters that aren't named, like incidentals, like if a pirate yells like "get him," like, that's a bit. So I went in for a Bit and Walla session for One Piece, and actually I wasn't credited. yeah, One Piece, and it was cool. It was like I had never done ADR before, and so it's pretty wild. Like the director was like, hey, we're gonna kind of take it slow, but even taking it slow for a newbie is crazy fast because you basically go in, you see a script, and then you just see like a bunch of lines, like just a line that you have to say. And it's like, okay, we're gonna watch the J, and then you watch it happen in the J, and then it goes, great, now that we've seen it in the J, do it in English now.
Right.
And it's like no rehearsal, nothing, you just kind of go for it. And so it was cool. It's something you definitely get used to, but like the fast pace it's kind of exciting.
Right. It kind of reminds me of that quote. The quote is something like put yourself in uncomfortable situations until you're comfortable being uncomfortable, pretty much. And it just kind of sounds like that, like you're pretty much in like a pressure cooker, like especially, again, your first, second, third session is a bit nerve-wracking. Can you feel like all eyes are on you? You got to do well. And it's crazy too because One Piece has a lot of background stuff. Unlike a lot of other anime, there's a bunch of background characters constantly. Right.
Yeah, people everywhere all the time.
And they're always saying goofy stuff. And like, it just makes me think the more that we converse with you guys, like, what kind of goofy stuff is going on in the studio? Because like when they're all cheering and stuff, they'll be like, hooray and stuff. And somebody will say a goofy line. And I don't know, man. It humors me now.
Yeah. Like,
no. Go ahead. You first.
I was going to say, like, doing Walla is some of my favorite stuff because it's like, I mean, like, of course, I love getting characters and it's like, hey, you can really chew on it and have like a kind of a progression or with that character. But like, Walla is really fun in that, like, it's just pure improv, and my background is a ton of improv. Yeah. So it's just super chill to just like, hey, for the next minute and a half, we're just gonna talk about whatever as villagers, like. Yeah. It's just fun. Like,
hey, as Banks says, it's like chilling at the max.
Chilling at the max, exactly.
Now, Alex, I wanted to ask you. You brought up growing up in a strict household and stuff. So, was reading manga, was that part of like a privilege?
So my parents were they liked that I read. And so I like they didn't really like consider or think about what I was reading. Yeah. So that I was able to freely just read manga as much as I wanted online. So
now the second part to that is, what were some of your favorites once you got into it? Because I wasn't sure how early you were able to start, diving into it.
Man, so like,
you could give us three, nothing crazy.
One of my man, I can go off on manga for a long time, but one of my first mangas that I read was Ranma 1/2.
Nice.
And then I did read the Dragon Ball manga, and then the Dragon Ball Z manga.
Nice.
And then like, man, there's some that are like, I'm just gonna list off just a bunch of manga that I
Let's
love.
do it. Let's do it.
Let us know, man.
Should we get popcorn?
Yeah, we'll let you know if we read it or not.
So, Alex, I double dog dare you.
I triple dog dare you.
Beelzebub, Angel Densetsu.
Oh, hold on. You said Beelzebub. I remember that. That was in a Kira Toriyama manga, right?
I don't think it was Akira Toriyama. It was like a high schooler, and like he gets a baby that's like the son of Satan that he has to take care of. It was like a gag manga.
Okay, no, you know what? I remember what it was. That was Sandland that Toriyama did. Okay, sorry about that.
No problem. Angel Densetsu, Veritas, Breaker New Waves, Breaker. What else is there? I read a lot of martial arts. If any of these are ringing a bell, I've read a lot of martial arts.
Nice.
Shoot. Now that I'm on the spot, I'm like, I can't remember.
Yeah, I hate that.
Okay. Hey, that's what we got. You gave us a few. Benjamin Banks, man.
That's right.
Did you ever read any Yu Yu Hakusho?
Yeah, I was in.
So Yu Yu Hakusho is actually I watched it. That was another one of those shows that I was like growing up. I was like, yo, this is great. Like,
it was.
Anime's awesome. And like, even now, I'm just like, man, that was like some of the dubs back in the 90s were a little shaky, but that is rock solid dub.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, while we're here, Alex, I also want to ask you: did you have a chance when you were coming up to watch Ronin Warriors?
Ronin Warriors. I don't think I have.
Okay, because me and Banks go back and forth about some.
They're on the search to find out who's seen this.
Some people,
Trav hasn't seen it.
Yeah, it doesn't get any love. You've never tried to, Trav, or is it just?
I didn't even hear about it until Banks brought it up to me like a year ago.
How, Banks? It's crazy.
And then I started watching it, and I was like, "This is really dated." I'm kind of getting it.
It is dated. Like
it is.
Now, Trav. Now, I'll say that, and this goes to you too, D, because I never mentioned it to you. But when I watch Ronin Warriors and I listen to the intro, it sounds like it's a song that you would hear on South Park, because it's like
he sung it to me this morning. No joke.
I'm just like,
how's it go?
I like this when I was a kid.
How's it go?
They're like, powers in the armor.
Yeah, he sung it to me this morning. I was like, do you need to do that? It's like 10 in the morning.
No,
I'm like, bro, that's what they do in the song. I mean, like if you listen to it, it sounds like, because you know how when they sing songs on South Park, it's just like,
it's probably one of the worst openings. I think so, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was kind of similar to
that doesn't matter,
a lot of the Deke openings where it's like they weren't as good. But thankfully, when 4 Kids came around, those openings
we got the pot jams.
They were slapping when we got those. But I mean, D, is when you say Ronin Warriors and how like a lot of people don't know about it. The same thing can be said about Outlaw Star. Alex, I don't know, like, were you a fan of Outlaw Star?
No, so basically, like when I was younger, I was like Dragon Ball all the way.
That's how some people were, and there's
Dragon Ball sweet.
Yeah,
Outlaw Star would come on like right after or right before, and I'd be like, oh, I don't know what this is. I don't care.
Yeah.
Hey, like you said, you were more into grounded stuff, like martial arts and stuff, and that's fine, man. It's pretty sweet. So
yeah. So I mean, to keep it on the martial arts train, who are some of your favorite martial artists?
Oh, come on. Like, Bruce Lee is obviously gonna be number one.
He's a GOAT. He's one of them.
GOAT, yeah.
Had he not passed, Bruce Lee was a bad man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I'm gonna list off all the classics like Jackie Chan, Jet Li.
Hey, but they're all good in their own respect.
And all their movies are fire.
Yeah, well, okay, well, if there was a battle to the death, and your favorite martial artist.
Here we go, Trav. Buckle
up,
Alex.
We know the answer, but we know the answer.
Who would you choose to win? Like, I mean, it's just like Death Battle. You know what I'm saying? Like, who are you going to choose to win?
Here we go.
So, like, I feel like I'm a fan of a lot of like movie stunt martial artists, and I feel like Bruce Lee is like the only actual like.
Well, the thing that makes
badass.
I think the thing that makes Jackie Chan dangerous is his improv. Yeah, he's able to improvise. He can use anything, and he knows martial arts. So it's like, I think that's dangerous.
Yeah,
it's like
I don't know, man. So like, there's a scene in I think Game of Death where Bruce Lee is like sneaking around at night, and like I swear, like I I think it's in that movie where he's just walking around and there's a fence that goes up to basically his neck.
Mm-hmm.
And like he just walks up to it, one hand, and is smooth, just puts himself over it without missing a beat. And I'm just like, yo, this guy could kill anybody.
That's a part of him, you know. People talk about his physique, but that has a lot to do with it. Right, he's so light, and you know, muscle weighs more, you know, and you know, you get tired, he'll start tagging you.
Well, and that 1 punch was the 1 inch punch was a real thing. It's not. It wasn't just gassed up for movies. It was legitimate. Like this man hit you real quick, and it was strong, dude. It's kind of like. He's kind of like an anime character almost.
In real life.
Freaky.
Mm-hmm. Now, you know, something that I loved about Dragon Ball, and this is something that you still see in the movies and whatnot, are Bruce Lee techniques. Like, remember in Resurrection of F, when Goku was fighting against Frieza, he did the 1 punch. You know what I'm saying? And it was badass how he did it. There was something in Dragon Ball Battle of Gods. I can't remember what it was, but Goku did another Bruce Lee technique, and you know, it just goes to show you like how impactful, you know, somebody was, where it's just like, you know, their techniques are still used in anime, or you know, like sometimes you'll watch anime and like you'll see references and stuff, like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, for example. Like there are a lot of JoJo references in a lot of anime. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's possible that Bruce Lee could be a JoJo reference for all we know.
I think it's the other way around. But,
wow.
I mean,
Bruce Lee is like Michael Jackson, right? He was
I'll give you that.
He was able to take anybody from all cultures, all backgrounds, all races, and bring them together, dude. Like everybody loves Michael Jackson. Everybody loves Bruce Lee.
Yeah, he's an icon.
An icon. Doesn't matter where you grew up, how you grew up. Everybody loves Bruce.
International icon. But it's like, I saw stories, excuse me, Banks, but like I saw stories and stuff like of him going to different dojos and wanting to fight the best student. And it's just like, he was an interesting person, to say the least. So it's like the stuff, you know, you read about and stuff, but he was like really doing it.
Yeah,
it's just
really
funny.
Doing it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's an anime character.
Exactly.
Wild.
I mean, like, that's why I'm saying, like, it's cool that, you know, like I said, we still see his moves, and you know, he's still referenced in so many you know, video games, animes. I mean, the Mortal Kombat
all over
movie,
the place.
The Mortal Kombat movie just came out, and you know, whenever you see Liu Kang do the bicycle kick, you know, you automatically think of Bruce Lee, like every time.
I love how you started laughing.
And Law from Tekken.
Law, he does the kick, and Fei Long from Street Fighter. So
I just want to know why you brought up MK. My man started laughing
because I was gonna ask Alex, how did you feel about, like, did you watch the new Mortal Kombat movie?
So I did. I watched it, and so this is also coming from I'm not really. I don't know much about Mortal Kombat at all. Like I'm familiar with names, but like I haven't played the games. I haven't seen anything else, and so but of video game movies, it's probably the best one out there. But it's still like, I don't like it as a movie.
Absolutely. I don't like it. I like the original better. It's just something. It's too serious now to me. It's like the original, the 95 one was just like, it was corny, but it was Mortal Kombat to me, you know?
They try to make it super serious while also like adding stuff that makes it silly for no reason, and like
Kano talk too much.
Oh yeah. I have to say, when people tell me that Kano is like the best part of the film, I'm like, really? Because he's like, oh, Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And then just looking and you're like, okay, like, cool, you made a reference, man.
He was full of back-to-back.
Yeah, two back-to-back sombrero lines, and I'm like, okay, we get it.
I know he made an MC Hammer reference. And
it's not the actor though.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the writing.
He did the best he could, but the writing is a problem. Also, like the thing that really annoyed me was like the entire time the fights are so slow. They're just like so slow. And then like the last fight is like, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but like the last fight.
Go ahead.
Oh, you guys.
Spoiler alert.
Sub-Zero versus Scorpion. It's like it's a good fight. I'm
like, the best part of the movie. I was like, wow, the last 20 minutes.
And if they could have had that kind of even intensity and speed and like it's like, oh, it feels like impactful on the hits and stuff, then like it would be better. But like, man,
I agree.
Man,
and they made a character for no reason.
I feel like the reason why I was kind of slow was because you had Cole there, and then you had Cole's family there, and it didn't feel as impactful like it could have been. Mm-hmm. It didn't feel fast paced. I still feel like Cole was a character that wasn't really needed. Like, you really didn't need Cole, but I understand why they put him in the movie. But yeah, I mean, between Mortal Kombat and Demon Slayer, which I enjoyed Demon Slayer way more because there was a lot of stuff that came out.
That's comparing apples and oranges.
Well, I'm just gonna say, man, when that weekend was a busy weekend. You had Mortal Kombat, you had Demon Slayer, you had Invincible, and you had Falcon and Winter Soldier. And out of the four of those that came out, Mortal Kombat was at the bottom of my list. Out of the four things that came out,
good choice.
It's crazy because I know me and Trav, we had talked about how, you know, which movie was going to come out on top in the box office. Was it going to be Mortal Kombat or was it going to be Demon Slayer? And Mortal Kombat beat Demon Slayer, I want to say by
like 6 million or something.
It was close. It was like 19 and 20.
No. Demon Slayer racked up like 15.5.
Not opening weekend.
Yeah.
Because I know, like,
or maybe opening day. Mortal Kombat racked up like 23 did opening day.
Yeah, but Demon Slayer was close. But I know, like, the following week, Demon Slayer ended up
closing the gap.
Well, but it beat Demon Slayer. You also couldn't watch on the streaming service like you could on HBO Max. So
that's true too.
It still beat it opening. Again, we're talking about a real movie versus an anime movie over here in Japan. Over here in America. Dude.
Yeah, but I mean, bro, like, look how many animated movies beat out real movies, like you say, Trav. I mean, it happens.
When
we get off the air, we're going to talk about real movies, Trav. Quote unquote real movies.
Yeah, there's been animated movies that have, you know.
No, I just meant movies that are more acceptable to a larger audience. Anime is a niche thing.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying.
I'm just busting his balls. I don't know.
Hey.
But hey, Alex, as you see, like, sometimes we snowball up here.
Oh, no, it's great.
On the podcast. Thank you. Now, I kind of wanted to rewind it back to, you know, before you got into voice acting and, you know, you were doing stand-up comedy and, you know, improv. Now, I did a little bit of stand-up comedy myself, and I always thought that it was fun. I feel like it was way harder doing stand-up comedy than it was talking on a microphone in a ring to a crowd of people, because it's just like with that crowd of people that you're talking to in the ring, they're either going to boo you or they're going to cheer you. Whereas with stand-up comedy, it's just like if your jokes aren't hitting, it's just going to be crickets. It's over. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, man.
Yes. So do you have any, you know, stories of, you know, when you were doing stand-up comedy?
Yeah, was your fly ever down when you were on stage?
Yeah, like, did you ever have to beat up a heckler or anything like that?
No, fortunately not, man. So with stand-up, I still like writing it, but like, man, like, you've done it too. Like, the just open mics and that kind of stuff is draining.
Yeah.
I didn't get too far in stand-up because I basically discovered improv like immediately after, and I was like, this is a lot more fun for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, stand up, like, if you're having a good night, oh man, it feels great. It's the like a highest of highs. But if you're bombing, oh, that's the lowest of lows. Like that, like no one can save you, and you're just in there, and I think something to be said about when you're talking about like when you're on a microphone in a ring or to a big audience, is that like you're part of the show and everyone is there and having a good time, where I feel like a lot of, unless you're like a big name in stand-up, a lot of times people are looking at you like, prove to me that you're funny.
Yeah. Right, yeah, absolutely.
And it's like, even if you made them laugh the first, you know, with your first joke, they're like, all right, prove it again. Mm-hmm. Like, and then it's like, if you mess up once, hey, this guy's not funny. And it's just, it can be rough, man. Like I found with my schedule, I was like, especially like hitting open mics constantly, like it was unsustainable for me to be like, hey, I'm gonna go sign up at 7. The open mic starts at 7:30. I don't get on until 11:30.
Yeah,
and I'm just waiting there, and it's just like, oh man, it is a lot of time investment. I have huge respect to anyone who can do it and make it happen.
I know, man. I know there was one time where because I was going to a comedy school, and I want to say half the class had to go to do an open mic at this comedy club, and there was like already a huge lineup of people who already wanted to come there and do open mic. So now you have the regulars who come there plus the students that are doing open mic, and it was a crazy experience because it's just like we had been practicing and we knew what jokes we wanted to do, but then you see some people that just go up on stage and it's like they're drunk, they're just cussing up a storm. It's just like, yo, can we get this guy off stage? It's like they're not doing anything funny, and you just it's cool learning how comedy works, and like how when you go up there on stage you have to know your cues and everything. You have to know what you're going to say. And I know that sometimes like people, they would get on some comedians because some comedians would go on stage with like their books so that way that they can read their jokes and stuff like that. And I always feel like when you go on stage, it's just like it's best to just know all your material and everything so that way that you can keep on shooting from the hip. It's just like if you were cutting a promo in the ring, you wouldn't want to be standing in front of a live crowd of people and then be like, yeah, so I'm gonna beat this guy up tonight. Right. And then after that, then you put the book down. After that, I'm going to be the champion. It's just like, who's going to believe you?
You don't want to be up there looking like Cannabis in a battle rap reading your rhyme book. You know what I mean? It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like stand-up comedy, it was fun. I mean, just like you, I did it for a little bit, but it is something that if it's something you really want to invest in, you have to give it your all, just like with wrestling, just like with voice acting, with anything. If it's something that you seriously want to do, you have to give it your all.
Yeah, it's real tough. And again, I respect anyone who can find it in themselves to make it happen, because that takes so much patience, so much grinding, so much it's like, hey man, like great, you did this joke. Now go to 10 other like open mics and do it again, but change up the joke a little bit each time to like find what's funniest, find what lands. And like the amount of work that goes in that, like essentially it's like you can write for hours to get write for hours to get 20 minutes of jokes. Yep. And then you just cut, distill, and you're like, great, I have a real strong 20 seconds now.
Right, yeah.
And I'm going to keep doing it. And you just do it, and you're like, all right, I got 5 minutes. Now what do I do? Get 10 minutes. Now that you have 10 minutes, get 20. Now that you have 20, get 30 to an hour, and then do it again. Like, it is so much work, and I have so much respect for people who can like keep themselves motivated and disciplined through that grind. So that's tough.
Well, then that kind of interests me a little bit too. So like, and not that it truly matters, because it's your life at the end of the day. But you talk about growing up and having this strict household where Monday through Friday you ain't doing nothing but studying, and we'll let you live a little bit on the weekend, but it's a short leash. What do they think now? Like you grow up, you graduate, you go to college, and then you start doing stand-up comedy, and you get into voice acting, and I'm sure it's not what they envisioned. So it's like, how do you go from that strict kid who couldn't watch TV on the weekdays to being on a stage, man?
So they chilled out the second I left the house. My sister, who is 4 years younger than me, so I graduated.
How it happens.
And she got into high school. And like she was just like, yeah, I'm gonna do whatever I want. And my parents were like, yeah, that's cool, man, go for it. So they really chilled out. And so like my parents, when I was like, hey, I don't know if I want to be a psychologist, I think I want to get into kind of acting and stuff, my parents were like, you know what, that's a little disappointing, but also like we did kind of guess that you weren't patient enough to be a psychiatrist. And I was like, if you knew that, then why didn't you tell me? Like, why didn't you let me know?
I wanted you to find out on your own.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, they've been very supportive. They like thinking about like how strict they were when I was younger, and now I'm like, who are you people? This is completely different.
That's how it is, man.
Yeah, but they're very supportive. I like to joke around and say they're not. Like I like to joke around that like my parents used to say I can be anything I want. I can be any kind of doctor I wanted to be, and like, but like they're very supportive.
Right.
It's like that meme where it's like how my parents were when I was younger, and it's DMX with the pit bulls and everything. And it's like how my parents are with my kids, and it's DMX with the pigeons. Like,
right, yeah.
That's how it is, man. So, Alex, I wanted to ask you, when you're not voice acting and you're just living a normal life, like what are some of your hobbies that you're into?
So standard playing video games whenever I can. I got super into table tennis.
Nice.
Yeah, like
that ping pong life.
And see, that's the thing is that like, here's the difference that you can piss off anyone who is super into that world. Is like ping pong is recreation.
Right.
Table tennis is the sport. And people get real.
Hey, yeah, you a ping pong player, but you ain't no table tennis player. Yeah. That's right.
So I'm very much at like the ping pong stage. I like playing it a lot. Like I actually like my day job used to have a ping pong table there, and like I would be there like every lunch. After
hold on, what is this day job? Let's not breeze past it.
Oh yeah.
Would you work at Google? Like they got a whole rec room for you to do?
It was a tech company. I used to work for
that's all you can say.
Yeah.
You don't have to say what it is.
Yeah. So yeah, and I play a ton. That's actually how I kind of got back into it. I in high school, I did like my parents did buy a ping pong table, but my dad is like 70 something. Like they had me and my sister when they were old. So like my dad was like,
how gracious of you.
Late 50s. Yeah, my dad was like late 50s, and he got a ping pong table, and like he'd play for 5 minutes and be like, all right, I'm tired, we're done. Like, oh, okay, man, that's fine.
Well, it was funny in school, you would see everybody had at least one kid in class with an old dad. Like I remember in middle school, this kid named Marlon. His dad was old as hell, dude.
And you'd be like, is that your grandpa? Like, nah,
dude,
that's
for
my
real,
dad.
I thought it was his grandpa. Yeah. But he was like, no, it's my dad. And I'm like, dude, he's like 20 years older than my dad. So
yeah.
That's how it happens sometimes.
That's older. Hey, yeah.
Still shooting from the hip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How it goes.
Oh, table tennis style.
Hey.
Yeah, whenever I think about table tennis, I always think about Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm going to say ping pong because your boy definitely ain't no table tennis player. But I love air hockey was cool, but I was always more, when you get the table and you could play ping pong or air hockey.
Yeah.
And sometimes it also turned into a pool table.
Yeah.
Or a basketball hoop or something. Those like 5-in-1, 3-in-1 stuff.
Yeah, I remember those.
I loved playing the ping pongs, bro.
Ping pong is my jam. I even have a ping pong table in the house here. Actually.
Nice. Damn right.
So, but other than that, improv is actually gonna be like the second most thing that takes up like most of my time. Pre-pandemic, I was doing like 4 to 5 shows a week.
Nice.
Like paying shows to because my improv trip, we opened a theater up in McKinney, kind of like not too far away from where I live. So I would just be doing shows constantly. And like, yeah, I mean, I love improv. That's really the thing that like got me into acting. Really, like that was the first thing, that the first aspect of it that was like it hooks into me, and I was just done.
Yeah, is that the first thing you think you were like truly passionate about?
Yeah, I mean, like so essentially when I first when I was first like, I think I'm gonna start doing acting classes at UF. Right. One of the first classes I took was intro to like improv 101, and like that was like, okay, yeah, this is it. This is something that I really love doing, and this is part of the performance that I really love. So
now, like, something I was just thinking of, because like you say you love improv and it was something that you were doing all the time. I don't know if you know of the show Wild and Out, the Nick Cannon show.
Yes, I've seen some clips of it, but I have not. I don't watch it regularly. I haven't seen a lot of it.
A lot of the, pretty much the basis of the show is improv. Yeah. And I just wanted to know, like, because it is a big show, is that something that like people who do improv, like, is there like what's the word I'm looking for? Is there like something that you shoot for, like, hey, I want to improv here? It's like, I've heard about this, like I said with Wild and Out, for example. It's just like, that's a really big improv show. So is that something that you would ever, try to, audition for or something like that?
Man, I'd love to, but improv is really hard to make money in, man. Like improv, like basically like Wild and Out, TJ and Dave, which is a show in Chicago. Like Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yeah,
like those are like the three major commercial successes that improv is going to get. And like I've heard people even say like, hey, the only people who get paid in improv are theater owners and teachers.
Oh, you also got the Impractical Jokers who got their improv show that they try. Can't remember the name of their improv show that they do that they travel with, but
I should check them out.
Yeah, they have an actual name for their group, but yeah, pretty much they go on tour and every show's different. Like they have like a certain checklist of things they want to hit as far as video packages and stuff go, but it really depends on the crowd exactly where they're going to go based on people's answers or what they're going to do. And it's a really fun time when you get that interaction.
Yeah. Like a show that's never seen before, never to be seen again.
Yeah.
Like that's that kind of stuff. That's what really gets me excited about stuff. But like it's tough to make money in improv, man. And like schools will make a lot of money because people are funneling into them and putting money into it.
Right.
And it's like, sometimes, man, they're unsustainable. But like, in terms of like improv goals, like performing at like a main stage troupe for like UCB or Groundlings, like there's some huge schools that people talk about, and like, in LA and New York and Chicago that like, they're great. They're awesome schools run by funny people. They pump out really funny people. A lot of like almost everyone on SNL, has a background from Groundlings or UCB, and that's just like, that'd be cool. That'd be awesome if I could do that. But like, really, I've made the mistake of stretching myself out too thin before. So a lot of my focus is like, I'm trying to focus on voiceover right now and let improv kind of be my hobby. Let it kind of still be something that I love to do without trying to pursue like that, like with like, I got to make money off of it.
If anything, it's just improving your skill set.
Yeah, no, it's definitely helpful. Like I said, with Walla and stuff, that's like most people who start ADR will be thrown into Walla here in Texas. And like, some people find it intimidating, and if you can take that and find and like thrive in it, then that's a great start to be like, hey, this guy's great in Walla. This guy like has a good time, does things right, helps other people, makes them feel comfortable. It's awesome,
Nice. Now, I wanted to ask you a question because I saw on Twitter you had retweeted a tweet from Outcast, and Outcast is one of my favorite groups of all time, and I wanted to ask you, what's your favorite Outcast song?
It's gonna be really, really basic, but I had Hey Ya like on repeat like for about 6 months after the first time I heard it.
Hey, it's a good song.
Yeah,
Shake It Like a Polaroid Picture was hot for a long time, dude. That's
singing. That's right.
Yeah. And what's crazy about that song is like, that was a song that you heard on
pop radio.
several different radio stations. It just wasn't coming on the hip hop station, it was coming on pop, the alternative stations, all that stuff. Like it I want to say like Outkast is like, they have so many hit songs, but Hey Ya is probably one of their biggest songs of all time, and it's something that you still hear to this day. For me, it would be Roses. What about you, Trav?
Oh, Roses is good.
Oh man, I can't pick just one, dude. as a kid, probably Miss Jackson, but that whole entire
that album,
Stankonia album, is just absolute fire to me.
Yeah,
but I mean, so fresh, so clean too. Mm-hmm. I mean, and this is not an actual Outcast song. It's Bun B. It's a UGK song.
Oh yeah, that's a really good song.
But International Players Anthem
is yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, is.
Outcast they did a good job anyway, staying consistent, and they consistently got better too, which I thought was cool. Watching their go and listen to their old stuff and just through the decades. It's so fun.
Yeah, Outcast, they're one of those groups too where
they leveled up.
They did level up, and they didn't stay around. Like they got out when they knew it was the right time to get out. It's like they reached their limit, and it's just like now that they haven't really put out anything in so many years, it's just
hold on, maybe not Outcast, but
yeah, I mean, they've done stuff separately, but I'm talking about like Outcast as a group. Like they haven't done anything since Idlewild. I believe that was the last album
that
they did.
Album. Yep.
And that was like what, 2006? I believe
a little bit later.
06, 07. I remember we were still in high school.
I was in high school,
yeah.
But it's like, I mean, like I would love for them to drop a new album, and I'm pretty sure when they drop that album, every song is going to be fire, and they're going to win some Grammys like they did when they dropped their last album. Idlewild didn't really win any Grammys, but
honestly, to me, that's probably my least favorite Outcast album.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Well, I mean, when you think about it, like that was more for the movie. You know what I'm saying?
Right?
So
yeah.
They had a couple of hits up there, but it wasn't one of those albums. Like when I listen to an Outcast album, it's like I listen to every song and it goes hard. But with Idlewild, it was like, yes, this is all right, that's all right, but you know, it's hit or miss though.
They had like 3 good songs with there. Then move on.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so Alex, I had one last question for you, and then guys, if you have any other questions that you can ask them as well. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to ask you, to anybody who wants to get into voice acting, what is some advice that you would give to our listeners and our viewers?
Oh man. So first of all, if you're coming at it from like zero, read iwanttobeavoiceactor.com first. That's the first thing to do. It's a website made by D. Bradley Baker. He's a fantastic voice actor. He's in LA. He's done a ton of stuff. He's all over the place. I think like the most mainstream like thing that people like immediately might recognize a character of his is Klaus from American Dad, the fish.
Yeah.
And it goes over a lot of really basic stuff. So I would read that. Then I mean, the first thing is like take an acting class, man. Like it feels so generic, like kind of responding that way.
Oh, there's a reason why everybody says it though.
Yeah. Like, and the thing is that like, for the most part, if you take a voice acting class at the start of your career, you're wasting money. Like because a lot of times it's either going to be highly specific voiceover stuff that you're not at a point that you can really understand it or like really use it, or it's an acting class that the person decided to add for voiceover and charge an extra $200. You know, like that. It's because it's a really hot thing right now, and people like will just for voiceover and like I mean like. And so, like, you know, I think that, like, getting into that. Also, improv, like, I'm just going to shill improv again. But that's also really important, too, because especially with voiceover, that is a skill that will come up, like, everywhere, even in commercial. In commercial, they'll be like, hey, that was great. I need you to say that 3 more times in 3 different ways. Yeah. They're gonna call it an ABC or triple. But that's a super common thing where they just say, give it to us 3 times. And like, if you give it to them 3 times in the exact same way, they're going to be like, okay, you know, probably not going to hire you again.
Yeah.
And so like, basically being able to on the fly, just make a decision and say, and just go with it, and commit to it. Also, this is also like, I'm just thinking about stuff that like, you know, don't listen to people who are like USB mics suck. Like, they're fine. Like, you're going to get to a point where it will be a limiting factor, but guaranteed you're going to get to a point where your room is more of a limiter than the microphone.
Yep.
It's you're going to get to a point where like hey, this is great, but we can't use your setup. You can go to a studio and do it. Like, you don't need to drop hundreds of dollars for like an XLR and then an interface too. Like, there's some really good budget options, but it's the difference between like $100 into something you may not 100% know you want to do versus $300-$400 into it.
Absolutely.
And so like, that's definitely something that I see a lot of people put the cart before the horse. Also, I mean, Trav, because you're an engineer, so like, this for sure is like, so people focus on the interface and the mic all day. And then they don't even think about the booth, like bass traps. They don't think about panels. They don't think about any of that. So it's like, hey, like, great, that Neumann can pick up every single bit of your air conditioner, like, and all the bumps and stuff you have in there, and like, so I think just don't focus on the equipment as much. Like a solid USB mic can keep you afloat for a while.
Absolutely.
And I think that's it. Really, that's off the top of like all I have in my head right now.
Hey, but that's some really solid advice, man.
Damn right. That's what I was gonna say.
Especially like you just said, just putting the cart before the horse. I mean, and this goes for, it doesn't matter if you're voice acting, if you're doing anything involving recording, whether that's music, spoken word, whatever. Make sure it's something you want to do before you go out and pay $900 for a microphone, $1,400 for an interface. Then you got to get, some sort of treatment for your room so your voice ain't bouncing all over the walls and stuff. So yeah, you got to make sure this is really what you want to do.
Oh, you just reminded me, the last thing. A lot of advice I hear is pointed at to be a professional. And it's fair. It's totally fair. But also, I feel like a lot of people don't think about or consider the person who says, I just want to do it for fun.
Right.
And that's something that's important too, that a lot of times people will be like, don't do this, don't do this, don't do that. And it's because it's like, oh, if you want to do it professionally, if you want to try to make it your career, don't do this, don't do that. Like, for example, like a demo reel, like a self-produced demo reel, or like a USB microphone, or a like just like a fan dub or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, from a professional standpoint, yeah, if you want to have the most professional sound and like kind of position yourself in a way that like, hey, nothing's going to come back and bite me from my past, sure. But if you're just in it for fun and you're just like, hey, I want something to do, this seems really cool, I want to find a way to express myself, I want to do this, go for it, just do it. Like,
you never know where it's going to lead you.
Yeah, and if you find that you're like, oh, hey, you know what, I actually love doing this, then that's great. Then you can say like, all right, great, I'm gonna go ahead and take my self-made demo and be like, I'm not gonna send this to anybody, but I'm going to make my own now. I'm gonna get one made now. I'm gonna like kind of go the more professional route, and that's not a problem. Like, you can have fun with it, and like, if you're not having fun with it, then what's the point? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
That's always the case.
You always have to do what works for you, and you have to have fun with it. I mean, because you can get advice from anybody, and I feel like because kind of like with wrestling, it's just like you listen to all of the advice that you're giving, and then you take bits and pieces from the advice that you've been given. Like, you don't take every single thing, because it's like you might take everything that somebody gives you and it doesn't work for you at all. You know what I'm saying? So you have to do what works for you, and like you say, you just have to have fun with it.
Yep.
Absolutely. And before D asks, oh, you got something to say?
Yeah, sorry, I just keep thinking of more stuff. This is the last thing. I swear this is the last thing. If you do want to do voiceover professionally, and that's like, you're like, I'm dead set on that, you got to avoid one big trap, which is falling into like depending on others to motivate you. If you want to do this professionally, motivation is not what you're looking for. Discipline is what you're looking for. You know, if whether you're at, you know, you're doing school or work, you're not motivated to go to, like, most people aren't motivated to go to work.
Right.
Most people aren't motivated to go to school. You do it because it's part of it. You're disciplined.
That's
and
right.
So if you want to do it voiceover, I see this trap a lot. Some people will join a community and be like, oh, does anyone want to practice with me?
Yeah.
And if no one wants to practice with them, they don't practice. And it's like, no, you can't let your motivation be the guide. You have to.
That's right.
It has to be discipline.
Well, look, that's the difference between the greats and
anything,
other people. And literally, that's what I was about to say. Sport.
Exactly.
Hey, Tom Brady didn't become Tom Brady because he was in the backyard finding somebody to throw a football around with him.
Exactly.
He was throwing the football by himself.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you on that, because I know, you know, when I had started my weight loss journey, I used to, you know, depend, and you hear this from a lot of people. It's just like, I don't want to go work out at the gym by myself. I want to work out with other people. And then it's just like, when those people don't work out, then you're just like, okay, well, I'm not going to work out. I'll just wait for them. But by doing that, it's just like, you're not focusing on yourself. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you said, you have to have discipline. You have to be your biggest motivation. You can't rely on other people, because at the end of the day, it's like, it's your life. You want to get healthier, or you want to get stronger. You want to get faster. You can't rely on other people. So I 100% agree with you on that, Alex.
Yeah, our boy Alex over here dropping facts, dropping knowledge. That's right. Hey, shout out to mom and dad, man. Look at your boy now. Psychology, what? My man. But look, man, before my boy D here asks his infamous question, I gotta address something. We gotta talk about this amazing Christmas T-shirt that you're wearing in the middle of May, at the beginning of May.
So here's the bad thing.
Well, first, can we see the whole shirt?
Oh yeah. So it is a Funhouse T-shirt. They're a comedy YouTube channel that I really like. They're very funny people, and they also do a ton of improv. So it's like, you know, really checks all the boxes for me.
Yeah.
The bad thing is that because of the pandemic, we're all staying inside for the most part. So like, I leave my house once a month maybe for groceries, and so this is a shirt that I was on my floor and I threw on. So it's,
hey, that's how I be sometimes.
Hey, well, I'm not complaining about it. You know what I mean? Your boy enjoys some Christmas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know, of course, I gotta address it. We gotta talk about it a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I like it. It's a comfy shirt. So
hey, you getting the thumbs up from us as well.
Hey, take that with you.
Appreciate it.
Only use it when you need to.
Okay. I am a serial thumbs upper, which is a problem.
Hell
so
yeah.
I might use
I just gave you a spare.
Hey, hook them up, D.
Put it in the back pocket.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, that's that minigun thumb.
Yeah, he hit you with a couple of the combo breaker.
Oh,
right.
Lord. Hey,
now, what's up?
I just got to acknowledge something. We went through, this is the first time we've been through an episode with no piggybacks in a very long time. No piggybacks.
Did we get a trophy for that? The upper left corner?
I don't know what we get. I'm actually kind of sad about it.
It's
quite honest
with
you.
Oh, well, let me piggyback on what Trav said.
There we go.
I got nothing. No, but Alex, before we let you go, I wanted to ask, not sure if you do or not, it's cool if you don't, but do you have a favorite horror movie, like growing up or now more so for you? Anything that creeps you out? Anything.
Oh man. Okay, so shout out to my most like some of the biggest trauma in my life.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
I wish it was that, because that's a funny movie.
Yeah, it is.
It hasn't aged well, so I can handle it.
Yeah.
I'm very bad with horror in general, and I attribute it because when I was like 6 or 7, I went to go. My parents took me to China for my grandfather's like birthday party, and at like 6 or 7 years old, I watched a big part of The Ring, but in Chinese.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Ringo.
yeah, And so in addition to it being way too scary for me, I didn't understand what was going on.
Man, that's pretty young to be watching that.
Yeah, it messed me up pretty bad, man.
It's pretty crazy.
We're just over here laughing at your trauma.
I'm not laughing. I would never.
To this day, like if like one way that you can absolutely mess with me is if like a TV turns, like if I'm in my room and a TV like turns on.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't happened, like, but maybe like once by accident or some crazy thing.
I'll keep it in mind.
My heart rate spikes, and I'm like instantly like I'm gonna throw myself out the window mode.
Yeah, that's pretty creepy. Actually,
that's how I am with water bugs. So I understand.
That's how you are with everything. This guy.
Yeah, this guy. So yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. Hey, Alex, thank you for joining us up here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks, man. It's been a fun ride. We appreciate you coming up here, and I appreciate you opening up the message when I slid in your DMs.
No, thanks for having me, man. No problem.
You're welcome. So before we let you go, let everybody in social media land know where they can find you at.
You can find me on Twitter at MyManAlex, MaiManAlex, or on my website at alexmyvoice.com.
Awesome. Nice. Awesome. You heard it. You know where to find the man at. And make sure you check out some of his stuff. Hey, before I let you go, do you have any stand-up comedy or improv stuff that we can see on Twitter or YouTube or anything like that?
So no, I don't have any stand-up online. If you're in the DFW area or like you want to go up to McKinney, and you can go to the Comedy Arena. And I haven't been in a bit because with the pandemic, I'm trying to be safer. But like when the pandemic's over, I'll definitely be going back to doing improv. So
hey, we'll
you can catch me doing weekly shows.
Hey, nice name drop.
Hey, I'll show up with the TV on stage. Come crawling
out. Jesus. With the tomorrow?
Gonna have my little miniguns.
You know, like when you go to an improv show and it's just like, all right, give us a topic, and somebody's gonna be like a TV. And you
gonna know.
Oh no.
Leveling Up sent you.
D, let them know where they can find you at, man.
First and foremost, Alex, thanks for leveling up today. And if you want to reach me, that's rebellious_D23 at Instagram.com. Trav?
I sent you over there on the Instagrams already. You can find your boy at ZK Audio, and then you can head on over to the Twitter, and you can find me at TRAVIOS ZK. And it sounds like my man Alex over here needs himself a hero to save him from the television. Where's he gonna find it at?
You can find me, your hero, Benjamin Banks, at KingBenji_Banks on Twitter and Instagram. And you can look me up on Facebook at Benjamin Banks. I should be the first person to pop up. If not, then I need to contact Mr. Zuckerberg. Thank you for watching and listening to our brand new episode of Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. And we'll see you next time. Like I always say, keep that pinky up and stay positive. Peace.
Thanks again, everybody, for watching another episode of Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe to the channel. Podcast, we got that too. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and hit that bell for further episodes and notifications. Thanks a lot to our patrons. And if you don't mind, join the Patreon. We'll be having new specials coming up soon.